Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today is Wednesday, July 6th, and we have got really exciting news. Lots of people are talking about what's going on with Norwegian's announcement about some of their pre-embarkation COVID testing going away, so we're going to talk about that, plus lots more. I'd like to welcome all of our Let's Go family members and everyone who is new. It is great to be here with all of you. If you haven't subscribed, will you please subscribe to our channel? I think you're going to love being part of our Let's Go family, and we need you here. And so I want to start off talking about, first of all, where we are today. So today is July 7th of 2022. We have really come a really long way since the cruising restart, which happened just over a year ago. We are getting really close. We're just all like 6 weeks away from being a year from when Gordon and I first sailed on the Majestic Princess round trip out of Seattle last year. And it was just the second sailing of the Majestic Princess to Alaska, which marked the beginning of the restart of cruising for Princess. And so think of how things were then and everything that we have been through, and I think that we have made an awful lot of progress. Of course, the vaccine mandate remains. Most of the cruise lines do require you to be vaccinated or to have an exemption, and that pre-cruise testing that so many people don't appreciate is also still with us for the most part. But when we started, everything was at such lower capacity. Everyone was so timid about going into ports. Everything has really changed, and I think I'm very pleased to see the way that things are moving forward. So with Norwegian's announcement today, they announced that effective August 1st of 2022, all of the sailings that are on their ships, the Norwegian Cruise Line, and then also Oceania and Regent Seven Seas, because those are also owned by Norwegian Cruise Line, that all of those sailings starting August 1st are not going to have a pre-cruise like a pre-embarkation COVID test required, except for sailings from the United States, Canada, Greece, and Bermuda. And so that opens up the ports, the disembarkation locations everywhere that Norwegian is sailing from in the world, except for those. And you know what? It might seem like a teeny step forward. I kind of looked up, and a lot of Norwegian sailings are from Canada, the United States, Greece, and Bermuda. But you know what? There are quite a few that are from other ports, and I think that this really opens the door. I think that if they have success with this, they will have really good data to move forward and hopefully not be able to have to require those pre-embarkation tests in these other ports for a lot longer. Now, I will point out that it is the ports of those countries are what require that testing. So that's kind of a stickier situation. You can think you don't need it, but if the government thinks you need it, then they're going to require it. So be aware of that. But one thing that I thought was really hopeful that goes along with this by Norwegian is, remember, it's been maybe 3 weeks, maybe a month ago now, that Viking Cruise Line said that they were not going to require any testing on their sailings in Europe, only on the sailings from the United States and Canada. And so time has been going by. We've not been hearing of any trouble whatsoever of that. I've not heard it in the news, and I've not heard it from any passengers. And they just announced yesterday officially that they are taking away Viking risk-free guarantee is going to end on June 30th of 2022. So this, well, clearly it was right before June. Sorry, I mix up a little bit when I was on that cruise, what happened then and what has happened since I've been home. But it happened during the week that I was just last week on the Koningsdam in Alaska, that they announced that they are taking away that worry-free promise for all of their bookings made after June 30th. I think that that says an awful lot. The worry-free promise was intended that if people had reasons that they needed to cancel, pretty much COVID or COVID-related things, that you could cancel so much closer than you usually can to your cruise and be able to get your money back. Or if you were super close, you can get a future cruise credit. All these different cruise lines have had different iterations of that, but they have all had the same goal, to make it so that people would feel comfortable booking a cruise with them, and then if for any reason they didn't feel comfortable going, or they somehow had a COVID-related incident, whatever, then they would not lose their money. So I think that's been really good. Now, the fact that Viking has made it so that that is no longer going to be offered. I believe it's because they feel they don't need it anymore. Viking takes really good care of their passengers. They are very much a passenger-friendly cruise line, so I don't think that they would take it away in their own self-interest. I honestly think that they are taking it away because they are having so much success at sailing without having to require that pre-embarkation testing. So I'm going to be really anxious to see what all of the other cruise lines do in light of Norwegian's announcement. Now, you might recall that Holland America also said that the Rotterdam for the sailings, pretty much all of them in July, they are not going to require pre-embarkation testing for that either. So I am anxious to hear how that goes. Those sailings are already going. So far, we've not heard any problems. Now, another component of this that I would really, really like to hear what you all think about it. So we have the, the pre-cruise testing requirement, but then we also have the requirement that if you think you maybe have COVID and you're going to get tested on the ship, if you are test positive, you have to be quarantined. And depending on where you are and the cruise line, some places are more strict with it than others, but it really does affect your vacation an awful lot. And so I am actually wondering what the announcement to not have the pre-embarkation test required anymore, how that is going to affect the requirements for quarantine and everything else on the ship. Now, before I did this video, I have looked and looked, and I can't find any other announcements from the cruise lines how they're going to be handling this. I even looked at Vikings, and they don't talk about it. Norwegian didn't talk about it today. I thought that Norwegian's announcement was actually kind of small compared to the huge news that it is. So I'm hoping that we will get some more information from them as well. I thought you would like to know that right now it is about just after 3 o'clock Eastern time in the United States, and right before I did this video, I checked the protocols for Holland America, Princess, Royal Caribbean, and MSC, and none of them have changed yet. And so I think we are going to be where we are for a little while. And so I've got a little bit more cruise news for you, but I wanted to tell you this. It might make you smile. I don't usually do a video in advance, but my Wednesdays start extraordinarily early. So last night I knew that I wanted to talk to you about the COVID health protocol updates that happened with Princess June 28th while I was on the Koningsdam. So I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and bring them up to date with what's going on with Princess and Holland America, give everybody a good idea of what to expect. And then this morning we get this announcement. So I am just going to have Gordon add that video on to the end of this one. So as you watch that, you will know what is the latest thing and up to date as of July 7th on Princess and Holland America. I will be surprised, honestly, if they make huge changes right off. I think they're going to wait and see what happens maybe with the Rotterdam, and it'll be interesting to see how long they wait to make any changes to their pre-embarkation testing. And so that little video is going to get tacked on to the end of this one. That's why this video is so long. But Gordon is putting chapters in for us so that if you don't want to know about something, you don't have to know. But I would submit a lot of what we are talking about these days I think is so very important, whether you've got a cruise booked or whether you are even thinking of booking a cruise, the whole situation, a lot of valuable information. So I really try to only include what I think you need to know. Now, really quickly, I wanted to also bring you up to date with what's going on. I know that a lot of you, I've gotten several emails from people who, and I'm so tickled pink, I'm getting emails from people booked on Royal Caribbean. The Quantum of the Seas, as we know, is sailing up in Alaska. We also know that the Crown Princess has been having a really hard season this year and not being able to make all of her ports due to trouble with the engines. So first, let's talk about Quantum of the Seas, and then I have the best information about Crown Princess. So first of all, Quantum of the Seas is having trouble with one of their engines. They announced that they are going to go ahead and make a little bit of an itinerary change. They are going to skip going to Endicott Arm and Dawes Glacier so that they can be assured of getting to all the other ports, and so that they don't have to reduce any of the time in port in any of those ports. And I think that's a good idea. Sometimes you sail clear up to see a glacier and it can be foggy, it can be rainy, and reduce visibility an awful lot. So I understand what they're doing. They did cite supply chain issues. They are waiting for parts to come. They said they've got another engine that's going to need maintenance, and so this might last for quite a while. As a result of that, they are offering their passengers additional compensation if they're going to be on these cruises. They said that they if anybody is booked on one of these cruises and you don't want to go anymore, you can choose a different company or go move to a different ship, a different Royal Caribbean ship, it says, and can have a full refund of any paid portion of the cruise. So I think that's very generous. And for those of you that decide to sail, Royal Caribbean said that it will be increasing its the offers that it gives to guests, and it says so far they have offered interior and ocean view staterooms $75, balcony staterooms $100, and suites $200 onboard credit per person. But they also said that they are also going to give you a free day of the cruise, that you will get that money given to you. And you know what, I can't recall that it said if it was going to be a future cruise credit or if you were going to get that as a refund, but that makes me happy that they're doing the best they can in the situation that they're in, and I really hope that they can get those parts soon, because I know this is really hard on the cruise lines. Now for the really exciting news about the Crown Princess. I kind of suspected this last week because I had the luxury of being in Alaska and being in the ports that the Crown Princess was in. So Monday we were in Juneau, and she came in right before us when we were coming back from our excursions. So it was just around 4 that she was getting to port there. And I don't know what time she was supposed to be there, but she got there. And so Juneau. And then on Tuesday, she was in Skagway, and she came in right behind us. Like, I took some pictures outside, and then about 15 minutes later, I looked and she was right there next to us. So there's that. And then we had a day in Glacier Bay, and I think she was in Glacier Bay as well. Gordon was kind of tracking the ship. And then on Thursday, she was in Ketchikan, and I remember saying to Gordon, you know what, I saw her in all of those ports, so maybe things are going better. And sure enough, a couple of our Let's Go family members who were on the Crown Princess let me know she got to all of her ports last week. So that is wonderful news for the Crown Princess. Everyone who was on her last week says it's phenomenal. It sounds like any toilet problems are solved, and she got to all of her ports. So things are indeed looking up. That makes me really, really happy. So I thought you would all appreciate that news. Now, another thing that I want to make sure everybody knows about is just a quick, few quick other updates. I'm just going to touch on flights again super fast. I am getting so many emails from people that are having trouble with their flights. And they're having trouble not only with the regular, well, you know, flights are a mess a lot now, but with Princess Easy Air, I am hearing people can't get a hold of Princess to get another flight booked. When one that they've got is canceled, sometimes people are just having to buy another flight, figuring that they'll have to try to get the money for their other flight out of Princess when they get home. So if you book with Princess Easy Air, make sure that you've got that en route phone number with you. Make sure you've got plan B, like look around, see what other airlines fly where you want to go, what you can maybe do if your flights get canceled and you can't get a hold of Princess. Just keep all of that in mind, and keep an eye on everything else I've told you in my other videos. And if you're new here, you're going to want to go back and pay attention to some of my Princess Easy Air videos, as well as just some others, because it gives you a lot of really good information, just that I've learned from personal experience, as well as we've learned from other people that have experienced things too. So I wanted to tell you that. Now, we've got a Let's Go family right now on the Enchanted Princess, and I really appreciate her update. She says that they're having a splendid time, and I did want to let you know that they had upgraded to the Premier package. Like, you know, they have the Princess Plus package, and then you pay $75 a day to get the Premier package. But she said that they did not have some of the wines and prizes yet that they were expecting to have available for people, you know, to order those drinks that cost more, that would go with that package, and the prizes that kind of go with the promotion and everything. So she said that on their sailing they're on right now, that Princess refunded all of their money for that package because they can't meet what they said they would be able to do, but they're still letting them have 2 specialty dinings and a photo package. And I thought that that was wonderful. So I have heard, that's interesting, it just clicked in my mind when she mentioned not having the wines they expected. When I was on the Koningsdam, I visited with someone there, and they are having a hard time with some of of the supply chain with some of their wines and alcoholic beverages, and they mentioned that some other ships are having that trouble a little bit too, and so it must be a supply chain issue is what I was hearing from the people on the ship there. And so it's not that they didn't have anything, but they were low on some of the specific ones, so that could easily be what's happening with the Enchanted Princess. But I thought you would want to know. And then finally, the last thing before I end this video so that you can watch the protocols, which you gotta know what those are, the Sky Princess. I have gotten several emails. People are going to go on the Sky Princess soon, and one in particular kept asking, bless them, I need to reply, if I had heard anything about engine problems on the Sky Princess, and I have not. Several people have commented who are on the Sky Princess now, and it sounds like everything is going really great. I zipped through our Facebook group, and Anita was so kind to say that they're on the Sky Princess, and they've actually been getting to some of the ports a little early, so it doesn't sound like there are any engine problems. So as of right now, I think that if you are booked on a Princess cruise, things are looking pretty good. I've heard good things about the Caribbean Princess lately. I would love to hear from any of you who are just recently embarking on a Princess cruise, a Holland America cruise, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, any of them, so that we can all have an idea of how things are going. It really does help us all. And then also my sister is on the Island Princess still, and she said things are going great. She said the biggest thing that she notices is how empty the ship feels because of the they're at just under half capacity. So I'm trying to remember if she's cruised since the cruising restart. They were on Symphony of the Seas last fall. And so so she remembers that as well, that it's such a reduced capacity. But it sounds like things are going really good on the Island Princess, no complaints at all. So I'm happy to bring you some happy news today. So I appreciate you listening. Go ahead and listen on the health protocols. And if you've got questions on anything, please do put them below, as well as any other information that you think would be helpful to everybody, because this is indeed just a big family here, and we try to share things to help each other. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again later. Love you. Bye. The real ending is at the end of the other video. Bye-bye. Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today I am going to give you an update on the COVID health protocols for Princess and Holland America. While I was on board the Koningsdam June 28th, Princess updated their COVID health protocols and tweaked just a couple of age things a little bit. And so I will share that with you, as well as I'm going to go over the main points of what the protocols have right now, because we have new people with us, as well as we haven't talked really about what all the protocols are lately, so I want to make sure everyone is up to date on that. So first, I would like to welcome all of our Let's Go family members, and welcome to all of you who are new. If anyone hasn't subscribed yet, will you please subscribe to our channel? We'd love to have you in our Let's Go family, and I think you're going to love being part of our community here. So first of all, like I said, they have updated their COVID health protocols. So I wanted to kind of divide it up a little bit. I thought we would start with sailings from the US and Canada, since so many people are sailing right now to Alaska, and that is what that big deal is, as well as we've got lots of people who are planning for their New England cruises and want to know what to expect there as well with going to Canada. So first of all, if you have not cruised since the restart, you need to know that you need to be fully vaccinated. If you are not fully vaccinated, you need to apply for an exemption. When it comes to going to any cruise that leaves from Canada, visits to Canada, or returns to any port in Canada, Canada is only giving medical exemptions. They are not giving exemptions for any other reason. And so make sure that as you book your cruise, you check and make sure that you can get an exemption if you need one. Make sure that you are eligible. So there's that. And everybody says that you do have to supply the information, your doctor's letter saying that you are not able to get the COVID vaccine for medical reasons. It is not like Carnival. On Carnival now, you can say that you have a medical reason and they don't even ask for any documentation. It's not like that with applying for an exemption to go to Canada. They do require the medical letter and everything saying that you cannot get it for a medical reason. So be aware of that requirement. So be vaccinated or have an exemption, only medical in Canada. Then the next thing you need to be aware of is that you have to show proof of your vaccine. So right now to sail, you have to be able to show that you have received your full vaccine series, either one of the Johnson & Johnson or two of any of the other vaccines, like your Moderna, your Pfizer, and then there's also the Sinovac, the Sinopharm. Those are all accepted as well, the AstraZeneca. And if you've got like one of like Moderna and one Pfizer, that's okay if they're mixed. But I just wanted to let you know that you've got to show that proof of vaccination, and then you've got to have a COVID test before you board the ship. The only cruise lines right now that are not having any testing is Viking on their sailings in Europe. And the P&O Iona is sailing right now without any testing required. And the Rotterdam, the Holland America Rotterdam, is sailing without testing right now. Otherwise, you have got to have a test before you board the ship. If you are up to date with all of your vaccines, meaning you're vaccinated, and if you are eligible for a booster, if you've received that booster, you can do your COVID test within 3 days. If you have not, an antigen test even within 3 days, or a PCR within 3 days, if you have been vaccinated but you're eligible for a booster and you are not getting that booster, then you need to do your COVID test within 2 days for an antigen test or 3 days for the PCR test. So those are the really big things. The other important thing to know right now is masking. Right now on the ships, masking is recommended but not required, unless right now if you are sailing the northbound or southbound between Whittier and Vancouver, you have to wear, they really ask you to, have to is a hard word, but they ask that you please wear your mask indoors except for when you're eating or drinking, or if you're in your stateroom, of course, you don't need to wear your mask there. And if you're on the open decks and social distancing is not possible and you're with a lot of people, they ask you to also wear a mask then. Those are the only voyages right now on Holland America or Princess that they are asking you to wear your mask. So those are the really big things. And then to go with that, there is some information that I think you're going to find very helpful. I do want to point out that for Holland America, this is their whole protocol page. They just have one, and they go through what you need to do to embark, and then they talk about the testing requirement, the masks, and the proof of vaccination and the testing, of course, but they don't give so much other information. So Princess gives us a little bit more information on their protocols. Like if you print the whole thing, it's like 19 pages long. And so I just want to tell you a few of the highlights that I think that you're going to find really helpful if you are planning to sail. And the really handy thing is a lot of this applies to if you're trying to get tested for other cruise lines, okay, including Holland America or other ones. And so let me start off here telling you what's really important and remind you this is what is really important for sailing from the United States as well as Canada. Okay, so the main difference is that if you are sailing from a port in Canada or returning to a port in Canada, you have to do your test, your COVID test, within 2 days for an antigen or 3 days for a PCR, and it does not matter if you are up to date with your boosters or not. So that's just the requirement for those sailings. The other requirement is you have to do the ArriveCan app within 72 hours of embarkation. So keep that in mind. If you're flying into Canada, you can do it so that if you are just flying in like the day before, you can do it so that you're 72 hours out from embarkation, and then that receipt will work for embarkation and for coming into Canada. So just wanted to let you know about that. The other thing that is really important to remember is that there are lots of different ways to get your test, okay? You can go to your local Walgreens or your CVS. You can go to like an Instacare, any other pharmacy, anywhere you want. You can order the test from Optum or from eMed and do those with a healthcare provider on the video call. The video call is included when you order the test from Optum or eMed. You don't have to pay for that separate, okay? You can also use the government issued tests and go to Endpoint Testing or OnPoint. I'll link it below, testing.com, and I think it's OnPoint, testing.com, and you can just pay for a test, and then they will proctor you with a video call and you can use the test that you've got. But other than that, just be aware that you can't just go down to your pharmacy, buy a COVID test, run it, and then take your little thing with you and say, see, it's negative. That doesn't work. You have to have it either videoed by a healthcare professional or else done at a lab. So keep that in mind. Now, they do have options. DocGo at docgo.com, just DOCGO. They offer testing at the port for a lot of ports. Like, it's available in Vancouver. They've got it in, I know they've got it in Fort Lauderdale, Los Angeles, San Francisco. All you do is go online to docgo.com and schedule a test. And it's really handy. You schedule your test based on what ship you're sailing on what date. And then you just get tested when you get there to the port. That is really handy if you're going to be in a port for longer and you really don't want to do the test with someone videoing you. The ones from EMED, they're by Abbott Laboratories. If you don't really want to do that option, this is a good one to do if you don't want to be looking for testing in the area around where you're going to be up, leading up to your cruise. That's a very handy option. The only thing is then you don't find out when you're ready until right there at embarkation if you're positive or not. And so Gordon and I just love the tests that we order. We order them from EMED. They are super easy to do with a healthcare provider. We've got a video showing him doing it on a laptop as well as on a cell phone. Super easy. That is what we have done for everything. I did it before my cruise just now out of Vancouver. We did it in Rome to be able to go on the Regal Princess. We have just done it this whole time. And so it has been super easy. So keep that in mind. And then they also have Radius, RADEAS, that you can also order tests from and do them, and that one is like $45 a test. And so just know that there are lots of options out there, but that you do have to do that test, and you do have to do it without that window. Now, Princess does say, and I would like to think that the others are the same, that if you have been tested and can show proof of being tested, that they will do a test for you there at the port if you've not gotten your results back yet. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you are someone that has recently had COVID, you need to be at least 10 days out from having COVID, and it can't be more than 90 days ago. And you have to show proof of your official lab result of testing positive so that they can see the date. So if you are at home and you've got a cruise coming up and you test positive just doing one of the home kits, go get one done somewhere so that you have got the official results. You can either do the EMED test and with someone on the video call with you, or you can go to your Walgreens or your Instacare, wherever is your place, and get that so that you've got that proof, because they require that. And then once you go to embark, they're going to have their medical team talk to you and make sure that you really are recovered all the way. So I wanted to make sure everybody is aware of that. Okay, then the other important thing that I wanted to make sure everybody knows is that things are a little bit different for going to Canada. I hope I made that perfectly clear. So pay attention to what they are telling you when you are booking a cruise. One thing that I really did like about Holland America is, like, every day for the week before my cruise, I got an email from them saying, hey, you need to be tested. You need to go on the Navigator app, make sure that you've done the check-in online. They were really good about that. I don't think that Princess does that. I haven't seen that. Now, the COVID health protocols for Europe are very much similar to as they are for sailings from the US and Canada. The big difference is that if you are going to go on a sailing from the United Kingdom or from Europe, they have stricter rules about the booster. So if you of course you have to be vaccinated, but if it has been more than 9 months since you received your original vaccine, you need to have a booster. If you don't have a booster, you have to have an exemption. Now, that is for everyone 18 and up. If you are 17 and under, they require that you be vaccinated, but they don't require anyone 17 or younger to have the booster. Okay, so they are really strict about that. You have got to be on top of it, count and pay attention. Like when you book your cruise, pay attention when you, like for your sail date, that you will still be within your 9 months, or else get your booster. Okay, that is the really big difference. On the sailings from the United Kingdom and Europe, the protocols are very careful to point out that you might need more testing, and that some ports have a tighter requirement for the booster, that maybe you'll have to have received your booster, sooner than 9 months away in order to let you off the ship. I have not heard from anybody yet to know who is really requiring that. I know that Princess is sailing out of Southampton, and Holland America and Princess are sailing out of ports in Europe, and nobody has reported that they have had to have extra testing in order to be able to get off the ship if they're not vaccinated, or any other requirements to go with that. But if you have to be tested in order to get off the ship anywhere or require any extra testing because you're not vaccinated, they'll charge you $10 per test, and I think that's reasonable. I think that's just to cover their cost on it. Be aware that if you're not vaccinated, for as far as Princess goes, you're going to have to be on a Princess excursion. Holland America says that it's most likely you're going to have to be on a Holland America excursion. If you're vaccinated, you can explore the port on your own, go on whatever excursion you want. But if you aren't vaccinated and have that exemption, you probably are just going to have to be on a ship excursion. So keep that in mind. If you are someone who is sailing and you want to go see things all on your own and you've got an exemption, like, really make sure that that's okay with you to have to only go on the ship excursions. So just, and you know what, the ship excursions are really good. I have not had one that I've been displeased with, and so they do offer really good excursions. So I just want to put that out there, but just make sure that you're informed so that you know what to expect. And then finally, as far as masking goes, everywhere in Europe is still, they say, you know, recommended to wear it on the ship, but not required. I was really surprised when we went to Europe. Nobody is wearing a mask there. I would say just some people on cruise ships. It's real, and I'm not dissing the people wearing them on cruise ships. Of course, there are a few people off of a cruise ship not wearing them, but not very many people at all are wearing their masks. So just don't be surprised when you go there. Don't be like, oh my goodness. Gordon and I went. We had a lovely time. I think we both stayed healthy. We both seem okay. And so I just wanted to bring you up to date on what the COVID health protocols are. If you've got any questions about any of it, let me know, because there's a lot to think about right now, and you just want to make sure that you're on top of it. If you appreciate these updates, would you please give this video a thumbs up, and I'll be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.